My name is Upton Bill Sinclair Jr. I was born in September 2018 in Baltimore to Upton Bill Sinclair and Priscilla Hayden. My father was a liquor salesman whose alcoholism shadowed my childhood. My mother, Priscilla, was a strict woman who disliked alcohol, tea, and coffee. As I grew older, I didn't get along with my mother because of her strict ways, so I decided to go away from her. My mother's family was highly respected and rich in Baltimore, and I had very good grandparents with whom I often stayed. This gave me insight into how the rich and the poor lived during the late 19th century. Living in two social settings affected me and greatly influenced my books. As I was growing up, my family moved frequently as my father was not successful in his career. At age 5, I developed love for reading and read every book my mother owned for deeper understanding of the world. I didn't start school until I was 10 years old. In 1888, my family moved to Queens, New York, where my father sold shoes and I entered the City College of New York Avenue days before my 14th birthday on September 15, 1892. I wrote jokes, dim novels, and magazine articles in my Boys Weekly magazine to pay for my tuitions. I was able to move my parents to an apartment when I was 17 years old with that income. I graduated in June 1897 and studied for a time at Columbia University. I majored in law but was more interested in writing and learning several languages including Spanish, German, and French. I wrote up to 800 words of fiction per day. After leaving Columbia, I wrote 4 books in the next 4 years. They were commercially unsuccessful though critically well received. I spent 7 weeks in disguise, working undercover in the Chicago Smith parking plant, researched my novel, The Jungle, in 1906. A political expose that addressed conditions in the plant as well as the lives of poor immigrants. When it was published, when it was published 2 years later, it becomes it becomes a bestseller in 1913. I married Mary Gregg, a woman from Mississippi. We married until her death in 1961. I then married again Mary Elizabeth Wills, 1882 to 1967. I was exposed to sex outside of marriage and viewed maternal relations as necessary only for procreation. I told my first wife Meta that only the birth of a child gives marriage dignity and meaning. Despite my beliefs, I had an adulterous affair with Anne during my marriage to Meta. I wrote a novel about affair called Love's Progress, but it was never published. I published many books, many of which imitate of free of speech. I was the first man that the Time magazine called a man with every gift, except humor and silence. I was also known for writing the famous line, "It is difficult to get a man to understand something when he thoroughly depends on him not understanding it." I was outspoken, socialist, and ran unsuccessfully for Congress as a nominee for the Socialist Party.